Good, happy Sunday morning. Can't tell because of the lighting in here, but it is very dark out still. And thought we'd do a little craft roulette. And so for this week, it's, I want to say 142. The elements include a tag of some sort. I'm using like a actual tag, although other people kind of had the idea of like you could just sort of like draw a little price tag on something. I mean, you could also use sort of a UPC code as an element or something like that. Anyway, I'm going to probably just be doing a normal sort of, tag like this. Best friends was the other element. Blue-green +2. I'm going to try Simon Hurley ink again. I haven't tried it in a long time because I started using Catherine Pooler ink and just thought that it was like, the formulation was like miles better. But it's been a while, so it's probably worth trying. I tried it very early in my crafting, so it's possible that it might have been more on a user error sort of sense than anything. And let me just pull up the rules here. Or I should say the latest parameters to make sure I'm remembering them. Oh, it still has the old FS. Where is the... Yeah. Well, that's weird. They still have their old... Okay. Card with a tag. Blue-green +2. Best friends. And a stamped background are the parameters. So, what we have... So I want to use this Happy Mail stamp. I don't know if it's actually called that, but it's a Simon Hurley background stamp that I really like, especially if you do it in sort of a muted color. I'm going to use a navy card base, I think, because it seems to match the color palette pretty nicely. And then I had this, I think Simon said stamp set. I really like the 2 cups of coffee because I think they're a good size for here. And then I'm just going to cut a white background panel to stamp on. And I'm thinking that there's in the big Simon Hurley, I'm forgetting what it's called, but I use it all the time. I think it's like Big Sentiments or something. There's a You're the Best one that I think I'm using. There's also You Make Me Smile, which would be cute in the context of best friends. But anyway, let us get going and get that out of the way and cut ourselves a panel and start doing some ink things. I have to check because I have shimmer cardstock as well, which is very nice, but not quite what I want for this project. Although maybe it is, like I was also thinking you could go in a very Christmassy direction with Best Friends. I have an elf stamp set I haven't broken into yet, although we'll probably find a reason to use it sometime soon. But anyway, standard panel. I don't know that we really need... We probably don't need a MISTI for this. I'm just going to ink this and then do this thing. This is a brand new ink pad, so we will see if my original feelings about this ink are fair or not. They may not be. But here we go. The actual, this came out pretty nice. So, nice background. And I was hoping for, this kind of more of a washed out look so that, you don't have, crazy amounts of contrast with the tag. So, that is going to work the way I wanted it to. And let's see. I also do have there's some like ink pad rejuvenator stuff I have. Should try that next time around just to sort of see if I can't rejuvenate the ink pads. But it's kind of a pain when you bought a new thing and its performance is a little meh. Anyway, I would definitely use Catherine Pooler ink pads because I've never gotten anything other than excellent quality from them. So I think they will definitely remain sort of my go-to. Just grab a fresh alcohol-free baby wipe, which I like using as my sort of go-to wipe. You can get lint-free rags too for painting that work fine. So I think the next thing I will do is, this is pretty much dry. Grab my Misty and do a little stamping on my tag. This particular tag, which I think came from Amazon, has sort of a smooth side and a shiny side. I'm going to try and stamp on the smooth side since it seems like it would probably take ink better. And this stamp set is actually sort of Valentine's Day inspired, as you might guess, from all the hearts and whatnot, but I picked it up after Valentine's Day last year, so I never really had a chance to use it. Hopefully we'll be able to get into it this year during the hearts and pink everything season. So I'm just going to go and do that. Oh, I got a little black ink on me. And let me... I have my midnight ink somewhere. Must have gotten into the other one. We will use icing on the cake, which is a good second. It is much more of a dark brown as opposed to straight up black, but I think it should be good. I'm planning on coloring these in, and probably dark brown for a coffee colored thing is pretty reasonable. Making sure that the tag is all the way over, and I got a good tip, which was, oh, that stamped perfectly. Okay, well, that rarely happens, but I am happy about that. And do a little coloring on that in a second. I'm going to wipe this off a little in case there's any residue, although I don't think so. It's a pretty fine design. And peel this guy off for the moment. And let's see. I kind of like You Make Me Smile, actually. You're the Best. They both fit pretty well. Let's use You're the Best, because I don't think I've used it yet. And I've gotten a lot of use out of this stamp set. I really like the art style of these. Just kind of get a sense of how this would lay out. So we'd probably center this. Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. When I use the corner, I don't really use the magnet as much. You have to be and like sometimes this foam will kind of move around, so I like to make sure that it's all the way in here. Using the magnet is the safest, but you also have the ability to not do that. So I'm going to use the same brown color on this. See, the thing I really like about this Catherine Pooler ink is when you're like inking a bigger stamp like this. Like it has sort of a stickiness, so you can kind of tell where it is. Now I'm going to be very delicate. This was a tip I saw recently, which is basically like when you're doing sentiments, like don't push down too much. like maybe just lightly run your finger over them and just ink them a couple different times, because there's a lot of fine detail, and sometimes that can get lost if you're overly aggressive. Yeah, here we go. Do that one more time. The other thing you can do is just sort of close the door and leave it. And the magnet does sort of help it stay together. And here we go. The H is a little weird, so I'm going to just try and re-ink that part. Or just sort of add more ink to the V. There we go. Okay, that looks good. Nice and dark. Oops, I just have scraps of stuff all over the place today. I'm just going to remove any residual ink from my Misty, and I'll let this guy dry. Don't think I'll need it anymore, so I will put these guys here and then put them away in a bit. I can pull that up, and we are doing quite well. So we kind of have to think about colors now. Pink is probably a definite. And I'm thinking maybe using a blue for the mugs, let's move that out of the way and we can look at coloring a little bit. Sort of like a paler blue, but I want kind of a, we'll see, I might have even a pink gel pen that, those are not good colors. What I really want is like a Valentine's Day pink. So I think I want that. And then what color do I want? Kind of a light tint, almost maybe maybe this kind of a blue, like a sky blue, because they have really cute faces and they don't really want that to get lost. And if I wound up using a really dark color, I don't think you'd be able to tell. There we go. As mentioned in previous things, I really need to pick up a new set of gel pens, because these are about 4 years old and they sort of randomly stop working now. So we have that, and that looks pretty cute. It's interesting because the pink is going to be really vibrant on here. Maybe less so once I color these guys in, but I'm just going to do a little shading. I may overcolor the... Oops. Oh well. I should have probably waited for it to dry a little bit more. I wound up getting pink on... The pink kind of ran a little bit because I was a little overly aggressive in time. One thing to know about gel pens is they do take a while to dry compared to other. They take longer to dry than you think they would, because they are because their medium is sort of wire-based as opposed to like alcohol ink or something, or stamping. I think you get kind of spoiled with stamping. I'm just going to overcolor it because you can kind of layer with these colored pencils. Get a little schmutz every so often. And then I'm going to more heavily go around the edge. Pink and light blue. I think I would put some sort of beverage in there. Something maybe brown, like a coffee color. Although, You certainly don't have to be realistic. I don't really have a brown in my... We do have... This is sort of a brown. This is... Dark umber. That sounds like a brown. Okay. Yeah, so we're just going to put a little something in here. I'm going really lightly. Umber is a very dark color. And a very old color from the standpoint of color development. Anyway, I think this looks pretty good. I would like to sort of... Let's see if I can't squeeze a little side blending out of here and just see if I can't pick up a little of this color on the edge. Oh, that works. I'm just sort of rubbing the tag a little bit, just to sort of bring the background color in a little more. Yeah, that's working. God, this is a crappy ink pad. But the overall, I like that. I like how that sort of edging brings the color in a little bit more. Okay. I definitely need to try re-wetting this, or I have re-inkers for all of these, but if it's just dried out, it might be worth like hitting it with an ink pad rejuvenator and seeing how that works. Anyway, my complaining aside, let us put our card together, because all we really have to do is tape all this stuff together and we're good. That. I always, before I put it down permanently, I like to just go back and look at the parameters again in case I forgot something. We have a stamped background. We have a tag. We have best friends. We have blue, green, and 2 other colors. And maybe doesn't necessarily count, but can. But so we could count blue as our color. There was a discussion last week about, like, do colors mean tints or hues? And basically the upshot is that the majority of folks thought that from a parameter standpoint, while you can count free colors, or, like, you can always count more colors, but, like, if you're, as most of us are, usually in the, like, state of wanting, like, you usually want more colors versus fewer, so from that standpoint, just counting basically looking at the hue is what folks do. So like blue and light blue and dark blue and navy would all be like one color, right? Or pink and red was the one that I had last week, if you remember. But I don't know. Slight tinge of pink still on that mug, but I suspect anyone getting the card would not notice. And I don't know, I like it. Like a lot of mine, it's a very sort of straightforward, cleaner looking card. I don't know, with some of the Christmas stuff, I should really get more into collaging, but we will see. That is Craft Roulette 142, and as usual, if you have comments, just drop something below.